This is my week, and it's been kind of a rough year for me. I'm a senior here at ASU, and you know how high schoolers, when they're seniors, they say like, "Oh, I have senioritis." For me, I'm kind of like my equivalent. I'm like at HIV positive, so not great so far. Not great. When they came up to me and they're like, "Yo, it's your week this week. What theme do you want to do?" I was like, "No theme." They're like, "Yeah, we figured. We gave you the short week." And I was like, "Yeah, that figures." It's also affected other parts, my education, my schooling. I'm taking an Eastern European literature class. Really riveting stuff. And so we had the midterm last week, and we're supposed to read 4 books, of which I read 0. And so I'm going into the midterm. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like, I can definitely clutch out a B here. And I get through the whole test. The last question, worth 25% of the midterm. Name what book this quote is from. Well, fuck, that's kind of hard if you don't read it. So I'm like, damn, she got me there. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, how do I do this? Because you can't go to the bathroom. And I'm at the point where, I don't really give a fuck. So I'm like, I'll Google it if I get the chance. And so I'm figuring out, it's like, how can I get out of this classroom? How can I Google this? And so I'm sitting there. And something that's always happened to me in Arizona is I get bloody noses a lot. It's real sensitive. It's kind of like the song, if you ever heard Jizz in My Pants, where it keeps escalating and even the slight breeze will make him jizz his pants. That's actually true for my nose. A slight waft from a window might hit it at a perpendicular angle and gush blood for several minutes. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, 1 tap, I'll be out of here, Google it, and we're done. And so I'm sitting there and I'm just like, at first I'm just like little taps. I'm like waiting a second or two, like, come on, okay, no. After a couple minutes, I'm like hitting a little bit harder. 5 minutes later, I'm like punching myself in the nose. I'm like bent over, I'm like, I go up, my nose is all red, and I'm like, damn. So then I'm like, all right, let's attack from a different angle. So I start, put the pencil up there a little bit. So I'm just like, all right, maybe if I hit it in the right spot, hit that G spot in the nose. 5 minutes later, the teacher calls my name. She's like, Ludwig, because she's Romanian. I look up, I have 3 Ticonderoga pencils in my nose. I'm like, yes? What are you doing? I'm just looking for the answer. I'm trying to pull it out. I got it wrong. I didn't do as well as I expected. And karma hit me when I got home. Opened the fridge, and I guess the difference in air pressure, perhaps the cold air, that's the straw that broke the camel's back, and just blood for an hour. I went to the bathroom, I locked myself in, we ran out of paper towels, I was using my socks, just like crying, like, why am I here? But it's good, life's good. I'm trying to pick up other parts of my life though, elections around the corner, we all know. This is my first election, as I'm sure it is for many of you, and I'm trying to be a good, conscious voter. I'm trying to stay up on all the things, not just trying to listen to my media or my parents, trying to make my own thoughts and decisions. So I'm watching the debates, and I watched the debate, and they brought up the topic of abortion. And as you can hear, it's kind of a hard, sensitive topic, right? Really heavy, no one really wants to talk about it, even they were uncomfortable. So I figured we'd talk about it here today. And whenever you hear about abortion, it's the same question every time. It's, when does life begin? Right? Everyone asks that every time. When does life begin? And you have, one side, you have the extreme conservative, which is to the right. The extreme conservatives who are like, life starts the moment you think about having sex with someone. They are pregnant. You are a Satan if you do anything to that. All right, so Jake, you might want to get yourself checked there, bud. And then you have the other side, right? Extreme liberal. Total other side, and they, a little more reasonable, I think they think life starts around, 7 years, right? Like when the baby stops crying and stops pissing the bed. But I think it's somewhere in the middle, realistically, somewhere in the middle. And I think the reason there's, such a wide variance, so many different answers, is because the question's so vague. When does life start? I don't know. I think if you were to just reword it, we'd all come to the same agreement, same answer. I think if you were to just ask instead of when does life start, how many weeks pregnant does a woman have to be for it to count as a threesome? Same question. It's the same question. Just worded a little bit differently, right? Because think about it. If you were to have sex with a pregnant woman who's about 1 month pregnant, that's just an embryo. That's not a threesome. That's like having sex on a bed when someone else is on the bed, and you think they're asleep, but they're awake and really uncomfortable, but they don't want to say anything because it's really awkward. They've been there. We all have. Power to you. It sucks. So I think life's more around, like second trimester, third trimester, when the baby's got, legs or something, they can like kick it or something. I think that's about when life starts. But I totally believe in consent. The baby's part of the threesome there. So I think the way we go about this is, sort of like when you send a bottle out to ocean. You just put a little note in a bottle. You just put it up there, similar to like a mail chute. Comes up, the baby will read it, and you're like, okay, guys, no doggy style today. Missionary, sure, that sounds good. And I think that's, because I believe in consent. Anyway, guys, we are going to have a lovely, lovely show for you. No more abortion, but it will get a lot weirder, I promise. Thank you so much for coming out, guys.
Thank you.